Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, whatever time you're watching it. It's morning for me. I wanted to go over with y'all how to do projects in QuickBooks. If you got Plus or Advanced subscriptions, you should have access to projects. This company here that I'm looking at is a fictitious company. It's called Craig's Landscaping and Design, and it is, it's available out there on the internet. You can probably Google search and find it if it's not available in your instance of QuickBooks. It is for me as an accountant user. I can have the sample company to play around with and stuff. So it's really cool. It's got data in it, and you can run scenarios and do different things, and it resets every time you go back into it, so it never saves your changes. But anyway, projects. Those of you who have a lot of, I can think of like construction companies, landscaping like this customer, anybody that's got any customer that's got a lot going on, like you multiple invoices, maybe you've got several jobs going on. One client I can think of that's got works on different trucks and engines and things like that. You may want to do each engine or each truck as a separate project. There's all kinds of ways you can use it, but what it allows you to do is see profitability, and it allows you to do expenses and things by jobs. You can invoice incrementally as needs arise and as you need cash flow. If you need to bill customers for certain expenses but you're not done with the project yet, you can do an invoice for those parts. You've used them, you've got them, bill them for them, get paid for them. So this allows you to kind of keep up with all that. So I'm having to search for projects, but it should be, if you've got advanced or plus or advanced, I should say it in the correct order of subscription pricing, but you should see it in your left-hand menu over here. There'll be a projects, and some reason it's not on the menu in this dummy file, but you can search and find it. And here's the overview of it, so we can start a project. All right, and so what we want to do, let's pick the customer. I wish these were ordered differently because I want to pick the customer first. Who is it for? So let's do Bill's Windsurf Shop. Okay, and then let's call it Windsurf, let's say landscaping. Maybe they're doing some landscaping in front of their place. You can put an email address for who you communicate with, point of contact or whatever. You can do start date and end date. So we're going to do, say it runs the month of August, and say we're hoping to be done September 1st. So let's pick September 1st. And all this is, of course, adjustable throughout the project. You can pick the status here. Have you started it yet? Is it in progress, completed, or canceled? And you can put notes in here. We're going to leave that as in progress, address, all that good stuff. So we're going to hit save. And then it brings us to the overview here. And then you've got a little walkthrough here. You can do different things. It walks you through each of the tabs, what they mean. Those transactions, follow the money, see how time's being spent, because you can manage your employees and your contractors' time and bill the time. You've got multiple views. You'll see some of that as we go along. And then there's project details, where you can change, the stuff we just set up pretty much. If you need to adjust something, you can do that here. And then attachments, you can put screenshots, files, like it says here, images, the other key things that you need to keep track of with this project. You can put those in here. So let's go back to overview. Now, obviously we haven't really started anything here yet, but it's going to show you, costs and things like that. So let's create an estimate. So what I want to do is go into the transactions area here and see you've got different ones. You can create estimates, invoices, expenses, or bills. Okay, so let's create an estimate. And it goes ahead. All right, let's get this stuff out of the way here. Yeah, we know. All right, let's close that. We're not add file. Let's close that. So it's got our customer picked for us already, and it's got all the pertinent details. Today's the date, expiration date. So this is an estimate, so you can set a date if they don't accept it by. When does it expire? We're not going to do that here, but you can. It's a good idea to do that. So accepted by, if they accept it, if you send it to them and they accept it remotely, all this gets filled in for you. But if not, you can go and mark one as accepted. So let's start something here. Say we want to pick a product. We've got some design work, so we can do custom design. We'll leave that. How much design hours? Let's say 10. Okay, 10 hours at $750. We don't need a tax labor. And then so we're going to need concrete. Let's say we need, doing a fountain, maybe we need 50 bags of concrete. 50, and we're going to charge the customer $15 a bag for that. I don't know what concrete goes for, but that works. And yes, we're taxing for concrete. We bought it wholesale. Didn't pay tax on it. We're marking it up a little bit, and so we're going to charge our customer the sales tax so we can remit that. And then say if it's a fountain, we're going to need a pump, and then fountain pump, $15, that works. And say, what else do we want to put in here? We're going to need, maybe we need some rocks. Garden rocks go with a fountain sometimes. Let's say garden rocks. And how many? Let's go 10 maybe. And we're going to charge them, let's say $24 for the rocks a piece. Sounds cheap to me, but I don't know. Okay, so there's a good estimate, $17.55, and we can review and send. If we do that, it is going to bring us to an email format. We can kind of type out the email what we want it to say, and then over here on the right side is what it's going to look like, and we can send it. Now obviously it's not going to send because this is a dummy file, but we send it. Okay, so now if we go back to our overview, you can see we've got an estimate out there, so we're not really seeing anything yet, but let's go. So we want to convert, and I think we've got to go into the actual estimate. This is where I wish they kind of would put some of this, a little more functionality in here, but we can see these estimates in our main dashboards too. So if we go to sales, yours is going to look a little different. Intuit has moved a lot of stuff around. Let's go to estimates, and then there's our estimate. So we see the customer and the project. Okay, so there's our estimate. So if we want to convert it, yeah, we can mark it as accepted, and is accepted we can put bill and today's date. Yep, August 7th. Okay, and then so it's accepted. Okay, so now we want to convert it to an invoice. We want to get paid for that stuff. It's complete. You can add to the invoice. You can edit it and do all that if you need to later. But let's just convert it to an invoice. Can't talk this morning. So there's our invoice, and it's going to give me the little ditty here about introduction stuff. So there's our invoice. That's everything we wanted to do. Let's go ahead and save, review, and send. So we can review the invoice. Okay, so it converted. I just hit save and close. It was giving me a little issue, so I wanted to check that out off video, but we're back. Got it converted. So you can see converted. And then now if we go into our invoices, we'll go back to projects here in a minute to see it there. But there's an invoice. I think that's it. Let's see. Yep, right here. So 1038. So there's our invoice. And you can see it here, but let's go back to projects. Remember I said I'm having to search for it here. I think this dummy file is still kind of needs a little development, I think, but anyway, we're here. All right. It works for playing around with, and that's all that matters. So here's our project. You obviously can have multiple projects running at one time, but we'll go into bills here. So we've got transactions. We've got an invoice and an estimate. Okay, so let's go check out some things. Alright, so there's the income, the cost. We've got $10 in costs. Well, what have we got? The pump fountain, remember? And probably the rocks. Let's see what this is. So right now in the overview we can see our costs, and our profit. Right now we're at a 99% profit margin because we've got just a lot of income coming in according to that open invoice. Okay, and so if we want to do, do we want to add some time? Sure. Let's see about adding some time. Add to project. And say we got some time. And it's probably not going to let me because I probably got to set employees up here. Well, okay, that's different. Like I say, I think this dummy file has still got some issues, not fully fleshed out yet. Let's say an expense. Let's just add an expense. Add to project. So we're in here. If you want to add something, we're in time, activity, transactions. You can do it from here too. Add to project, expense. And so what do we need to buy? Let's see, we can find something here, I'm sure. So vendors, let's say we need to buy gas and oil, maybe like that. We need some gas for some, chop saws or something like that. So maybe our trucks, we want to bill our truck fuel, getting to and from the site, moving around, heavy equipment, stuff like that. So we put an amount in here. We can change, this probably pulled this from a previous amount. Remember, this is a dummy file with, active data in it. It's not somebody's data, but it is live data, So 5256, that works. It's already marked it as billable. Do we need to charge tax? Probably not for fuel. I don't know. Some states get weird with fuel, so maybe you do. That's per your state if you have to charge fuel tax. You're not selling fuel, I doubt it. You're buying fuel. So this is probably, you've already paid the tax for that. That's in my mind, if I think about it, that's how that works. So you're not going to charge tax for that. But the project is already picked for us, the customer and the project. So that's that. And so we can save and close. So now we have an expense. Let's go back to our overview. So we see our costs have gone up a little bit and our profit margin has gone down a little bit. 96.4. We've got an open invoice. Okay, so project reports. Let's go check that out. So project profitability. And see, there's our project profitability, fountains and garden lighting. And then total job materials. And what we've got, $10 in that, in the cost of goods sold. And then here's our gross profit. Our automobile expenses are in there coming out, and our net income's down at the bottom so far. So this kind of gives you a general idea of kind of what projects will look like. I don't see a back button. Let's go back to the overview. But you can kind of see how you can flesh out different things in here. You can add more transactions if you need to. Say you've got another invoice you need to do. You're buying plants this time, so you want to, invoice for plants. Well, you can go in here and create an estimate, send them. You're buying a couple trees and several shrubs or whatever. Go ahead and send them an estimate for that, and it keeps up with it all in here. Invoice the customer, and then any one of these invoices, they're ready to be paid. So, whatever you work out as your policy, did the customer pay percentage up front or do they pay the invoice? That's kind of policies you can set. But this gives you a way to track everything and check it all out. The time activity, obviously, when you set up employees or contractors, you can keep up with their time, and that your rates go into that too, and it will factor those costs in as well to your project's income and costs, right? And this will help you kind of see by project which ones are profitable, which ones aren't. So hope this helps kind of share some insights into the projects a little bit. If beneficial to you, hopefully you can use it. If you need help with anything setting it up, I will be glad to help you. Thanks.